Today is the calm after the storm, and that's certainly the case. Brian Stanley joins us now from the Oklahoma City Fire Department, and I know yesterday was just a crazy day for you all. Tell us about that day and how you handled double the calls.
Well, we did. We normally run about 215 incidents every 24 hours, and we at least doubled that volume yesterday. It was a very intense day. Calls were pouring into the dispatch center of people trapped, and basically what you have to do is you have to figure out, are all those calls related to one another? Is it one area we need to check? So we ended up essentially dividing the city into quadrants, actually 3 areas, I should say, and assigning those addresses to a battalion chief and then giving them resources, and they went to the areas and checked individually, and that's how we were able to manage the incident.
What were the challenges that were all going on at the same time? You had people that were stuck in vehicles, people stuck in home. I mean, what was going on? Give us an idea of the atmosphere.
Well, the first wave, of course, was the people stuck in vehicles because people trying to make their way to work. We rescued at least 50 people, probably more, out of vehicles and houses in different areas. But again, that was the first challenges, is the vehicles. Then we started getting calls from those neighborhoods in the area of 164th, 178th, and Western, essentially a several-mile area, and there were several housing additions that they were saying water was pouring up into their houses and up to the windows. So we knew we had situations there, so we would instruct them to go as high as they could in their house. Some people put things in attics, some people went in their attics, some people got on their roofs. And then the challenge is getting the boats to the right area. Once you have them at an area and you're concentrating, something would happen in a different area. For instance, the area of Hefner and I-35, we had cleared that area and pretty much finished that operation, and then you had the other rescue with the girl that happened kind of after we had wrapped up. Then we got called back over to that area to make that rescue. So it was quite an intense day.
What about, were you able to learn anything new yesterday? I'm sure that every time you're faced with a new situation, you come away with something that you can put into place next time. What did you get from yesterday? Well,
basically that you've just got to be willing to be very creative when you're working with these kinds of situations, and that's what we did. We basically broke up the city into areas and then basically assigned those commands to those different regions, and it's very difficult to handle all that. That's one of the toughest things when you're in the dispatch world. One of the toughest things is to figure out what's related, what's one area where we can send a few vehicles to check it out. Do we assign separate areas in these storm situations? And unfortunately, with Oklahoma City, we've got to be ready for these kinds of situations.
Now, I know you've been with the fire department for quite some time. Right. Compare yesterday to situations you've seen in the past.
Well, it's some of the worst I've ever seen. I was working as a dispatcher on May 3rd, so I know what that was like, and that was incredibly intense. Everything that comes along seems more fresh in your mind, but this department is incredible. I've been on the department coming up on 20 years, and the firefighters are just amazing how they're able to just take these situations and deal with them and overcome. You're taught in Recruit Academy, adapt and overcome. That's exactly what you have to do. But this is some of the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen flooding like this before, so it's pretty intense.
And we're actually looking at some of the video from yesterday, and to see a jet ski driving down a residential street,
it's amazing.
Was just an incredible image, I think, of yesterday. And the biggest blessing, though, was, Brian, we did not have any injuries or fatalities here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, there were a couple of people that went to the hospital to be checked out, but no major injuries and no fatalities. Really, really, truly miraculous, and thanks to the work of our citizens and their patience, you know, and they're starting to know really what to do in these emergencies and kind of help themselves.
A lot of good Samaritans, too, are out there helping their neighbors. All right, thank you, Brian, for coming in this morning. We sure appreciate it.